All right, so get this. We are diving deep into Aruban politics today.
Ooh, sounds interesting.
Oh, it is. We've got this news article all about their parliamentary
Yeah,
elections.
all right.
And, well, it's nuts. 13 parties all want to be in charge.
13. That's a lot. What's going on over there? Why are they having elections now?
Well, it seems like their last government just fell apart. So
Oh.
they're calling a snap election, trying to get things back on track. December 6th. That's the date.
Snap election. So that means it's happening earlier than planned?
Right. It's like hitting reset on their whole government.
Wow. So with 13 parties all wanting power, this could really go any way.
Exactly. It's a total free-for-all.
Okay, so let's break it down. Who are these 13 parties and what do they stand for?
So first you've got the big traditional parties, the MEP and ABP.
I see.
They're like the old guard.
Yeah.
And they're both sending their entire A-team, the max 29 candidates each.
Oh, going all out.
But then you've got some real wild cards like MIA, this party all about indigenous rights.
Oh, interesting.
And get this, they're only letting people with native ancestry run for them.
Seriously. That's a pretty unique approach. What are they trying to do?
Well, they want to get back ancestral lands, put a stop to all the hotels popping up, and control migration.
So they are concerned about overdevelopment.
Yeah, their leader, Helena Crows, she said it's a straight up vol is vol, meaning full is full. They think Aruba's reached its limit.
Wow, that's a pretty strong statement. You don't hear that every day.
Right, and it shows you just how much these issues matter to people.
Yeah, it makes you think about what other countries are going through too, trying to balance development with preserving their culture.
For sure.
Yeah.
Then there's UPP, a party that's basically like, forget traditional politics.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they think it's all a circus and they want to shake things up.
So they're going for that anti-establishment vibe.
Exactly. Their leader, Giovanni Trim, he's saying the same old faces keep ending up in government.
It's that whole drain the swamp thing.
Yep, appealing to voters who are tired of the same old, same old.
Yeah. That can be a powerful message. But will it get them enough votes? That's the big question.
Right. Now, another interesting one is Futuro.
Okay, I haven't heard of them.
They're led by this power couple, Gurlian Crows. She's a former parliamentarian, and Jeffrey Weaver, a former minister.
Oh, so they've got some experience.
Tons. And they're all about expertise and substance, like running the government with real pros.
Interesting. It seems like they're positioning themselves as the pragmatic choice, the ones who actually know what they're doing.
Yeah. But will that be enough to win over voters? Are people looking for something more exciting?
That's a good question, especially when you have parties like HTC, the Youth Party.
Oh, yeah, they're full of energy.
With these big, bold ideas like building a whole recreation park to boost the economy.
I know, right? They're thinking big, that's for sure.
It definitely shows they're focused on the future, trying to find creative solutions.
Totally. And then you've got Kerpa, who are all about taking care of the elderly.
So it's like every generation has a party in this election.
It really does show just how diverse Aruba is and how many different needs they have to consider.
Absolutely. So it's not just about the big picture stuff, but also about how these different groups will vote.
Exactly. Now, another one to watch is RAD, the Anti-Corruption Party.
Oh, they sound intense.
They are. They're saying they're the only option for the whole island.
Wow, that's a bold statement.
It is. They're tapping into this global trend of distrust in politics.
Yeah, you see that everywhere these days. People are fed up with corruption.
For sure. So RAD is trying to be the champion of clean government.
But the question is, can they convince voters that they're the only ones offering that?
Especially with a party like Action 21.
What about them?
They're taking on all sorts of issues. Poverty, the environment, revitalizing San Nicolas, and tax reform.
Wow, they're going for a comprehensive approach, trying to address everything at once.
Exactly. It's a broad platform, which could be good or bad. We'll see if it connects with voters.
Makes sense. And then there's MAS, the Movimiento Urbano Soberano.
They're all about giving more power to Parliament.
So they want a stronger legislative branch.
Yep. They think it's important to have checks and balances in government.
That's a pretty interesting angle.
Right. And it shows just how much variety there is in this election.
Absolutely. So we've talked about a lot of parties already, but there are two more to discuss, the AVP and RAIZ.
We can't forget about them. Plus, we still need to unpack all the campaign drama and those new election rules.
Oh, yeah, those are game changers. So what's standing out to you so far? Anything that's caught your attention?
Honestly, I'm just amazed by how many different voices and platforms there are. It's incredible.
It really is. It shows you how vibrant Aruban democracy is.
It does. And it makes you think about what's happening in other democracies around the world.
Totally. This desire for new voices and new ideas, it's a global phenomenon.
It's a fascinating time to be following politics, that's for sure.
Absolutely. So before we move on to the next batch of parties, let's take a moment to recap what we've learned.
Okay, so we've got these two powerhouse parties, the MEP and AVP, but they're facing some serious competition from all these smaller parties, each with their own vision for Aruba.
And it's a real battle of ideas with a lot at stake.
It is. The future of Aruba hangs in the balance.
Feels like we're watching a political drama unfold in real time.
It really does. And speaking of drama, we can't forget about the AVP Aruba's opposition party.
Right.
They've had some serious shakeups lately.
Yeah.
Like a last-minute leadership change that nobody saw coming.
Oh, yeah, that was a big one. What happened there?
Well, they revealed their candidate list, and their new leader, Wendrick Cecilia, was only number 2.
So not the top spot.
Nope. And the party was not happy about it. There was a ton of pressure for him to take the lead.
So what happened?
The original leader stepped down, and boom, Cecilia's suddenly in charge.
Wow, talk about a power move.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder what this means for the AVP.
Right. Are they trying to change their image appeal to different voters?
It could be. They might be trying to distance themselves from past controversies.
Yeah. A fresh start with a new face.
It'll be interesting to see if it works.
Totally.
Yeah.
Now, on the other side of the spectrum, you've got Are Ye Eyes, the party of the outgoing Deputy Prime Minister, Ursel Ahrens.
Ah, yes, they're taking a totally different approach.
Right. They're all about respect and professionalism.
Like the calm amidst the storm.
Exactly. They're emphasizing expertise and collaboration, a stark contrast to some of the more aggressive parties.
So they're appealing to voters who are tired of all the drama.
Yeah. It's like they're saying, we're the adults in the room.
Do you think that will resonate with voters, though?
It's hard to say. In such a polarized political climate, it's a gamble.
It is. Voters often go for the strong personalities and the big promises.
True, but maybe there's a silent majority out there craving a more reasoned approach.
Maybe. It's like they're offering a breath of fresh air.
It's interesting to compare them to Red, who claim to be the only anti-corruption option.
Right. Two different strategies for the same goal.
Roddy is calling out corruption, demanding change.
While REI is taking a more subtle approach.
It makes you wonder what Aruban voters really want.
Yeah. Do they want a complete overhaul or a more gradual change?
That's the big question. Now let's shift gears and talk about the election process itself.
Okay.
The article mentioned some pretty significant changes to campaign financing.
Oh, yeah. Those are big news. They're now requiring parties to disclose their donations.
More transparency.
Exactly. There are limits on how much a party can receive from any one source.
And they have to report these contributions regularly.
It's a good step towards a fairer and more accountable system.
Not an easy feat for a brand new party.
It adds another hurdle for them to overcome.
It's not just about winning over voters, but also about proving you have enough support.
Exactly. It's a way to ensure that only serious contenders are on the ballot.
But it also makes it harder for new voices to break through.
It's a tough balance to strike.
The article also mentioned the different locations where people can register to vote.
It sounds like they're trying to make it easy for everyone to participate.
Which is so important. The more people who vote, the better.
But with so many parties and such a complex political landscape, it can be hard for voters to know where to start.
That's where we come in, right?
Exactly. We're here to help people understand the issues and make informed decisions.
We're cutting through the noise and providing context and perspective.
So far, we've covered the main parties, the key issues, and even the new election rules.
But there's still so much more to discuss.
We've only scratched the surface. Let's dive deeper into some of the broader trends and potential outcomes.
You mentioned a coalition government earlier.
With so many parties involved, it's almost inevitable.
It raises a lot of questions about how power will be negotiated and distributed.
What compromises will be made? What concessions will be demanded?
It's not just about winning the election, it's about forming a government that can actually function. So many moving parts. It's like a political chess match with all these parties trying to outsmart each other.
Right. But looking beyond all the strategies and promises, what can we say about Aruban politics as a whole?
Yeah, what's driving all this political diversity and this push for transparency?
Well, it's clear that voters want more choices, more representation, more say in how things are run.
They're not settling for the old way of doing things anymore.
Right. They want new voices, new ideas, new solutions.
It's like a political awakening. They're realizing that things need to change.
And we're seeing that in how the political scene is changing. Smaller parties are gaining ground and challenging the old guard.
So this could have some big implications for how Aruba is governed.
Definitely. As we said, this election will probably lead to a coalition government.
Meaning no single party will have complete control.
Exactly. So we could see a situation where parties have to work together to get things done.
That could be good or bad.
It is a double-edged sword. On the one hand, things could move very slowly with all the compromises and negotiations.
But on the other hand, it could force parties to really listen to each other and find solutions that benefit everyone.
Exactly. It's a test of leadership and whether they can put aside their differences for the good of the country.
It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Definitely. This election is a huge turning point for Aruba.
A chance to change their political system for the better.
And beyond the politics, there's a bigger shift happening in society, too.
What do you mean?
This push for transparency in campaign financing, this focus on ethical leadership, this demand for better representation, it all points to a society that's becoming more active and engaged.
Wow, you're right. It's an exciting time to be following Aruban politics.
Absolutely. So many interesting candidates, so many new ideas. Urban politics are anything but boring.
That's for sure. So what are you most curious about as we watch this election unfold?
I'm really interested to see how these new campaign finance rules will actually work. Will we see more transparency, or will parties find ways around them?
Yeah, and with so many parties competing, who will end up forming alliances, who will hold the real power.
It's going to be fascinating to watch.
It is. If there's one thing we've learned from this deep dive, it's that Aruban politics are full of surprises.
So buckle up and get ready for the ride. This election is just getting started.
And if you want to stay on top of all the twists and turns, you know where to find us right here on the deep dive.
Until next time, keep exploring.
And don't forget, knowledge is power.